approval rating hits a 11-month high as Trump's falls to one of his lowest. So checking out the polling here, you can see the bottom, September 2022. He is now at 45%, which is the highest since October 2021, so almost a year ago. So it's looking a lot better for him currently. A lot of that, of course, is because of what he has done. Some of his legislative victories, most importantly, canceling student debt. So you can see here this tweet from Biden tracking. This is a direct result of Biden canceling just a small amount of student loan debt. Imagine these approval ratings if Biden had canceled more than 10 grand. So looking at this here, a 10-point swing from July to August with adults under 30. It turns out that doing things that are popular and actually help people also is politically a good move. Biden should maybe think about doing more of these things. The moving of cannabis out of a Schedule I drug should be his next move that he can do. Again, as president, does not need Congress. But going on here, there's other polling that also supports this. So this is from Common Dreams. Polling conducted last week by Technometrica Institute of Policy and Politics for Investors Business Daily revealed that adults 18 to 44 now approve of Biden's handling of the presidency by a 51 to 40% margin. Biden's net approval of 11 points among younger Americans reversed from net disapproval of 11 points in August. At that time, just 40% approved and 51% disapproved of his job performance. Biden's move to forgive a portion of federal college loans probably contributed to his polling bounce, but it's not clear how much. College grads now approve of Biden's job performance, 56 to 41 versus 51 to 43 in August. So quite a swing here, again, largely because of his cancellation of student debt. But now, before I get to the next couple of clips, just because he's doing well right now does not mean he's going to be doing well in 2 years or that he would even run a good campaign in 2 years. And I think a lot of it depends on who he would run against. I really, truly think the only person Biden can definitely beat is Donald Trump. If you think back to 2020, the reason Biden won the primary and won the election is because he was not Donald Trump. And there was this idea, at least during the primary at the time, for a lot of voters that Biden is more familiar. He's sort of a known quantity. In their minds, for a lot of voters, I think it was sort of the attempt to get back to the Obama years before Trump. And there was just a large push to get somebody in there who, in the minds of voters, was a lot more easier to digest because of him being a known quantity, already being there before, as the person to get out Donald Trump. And that's why I think Biden largely won. That's what I think largely pushed him to win the primary, and ultimately, of course, why he defeated Trump. I don't think Biden would be doing so well against DeSantis. DeSantis, I think, is largely a blank slate to most voters. He has the ability to fool more people into thinking that he, again, is a fake populist like Donald Trump is, but without a lot of the baggage. I think that would work on a lot of people. And also, if Biden is the candidate again, you could see a depressed vote as people are now used to the Biden years and I don't think are quite aware of what could happen under a DeSantis and how similar it would be to Donald Trump, minus a lot of the drama. But I think DeSantis would be able to accomplish a lot more because he doesn't have all of that baggage and all of the insanity that Trump brings. So I do think DeSantis in many ways is actually more, is somebody worth fearing more than Trump is. But let me get to this next clip here. So this is over Biden's mental acuity, and we're going to get to something else in this interview that he maybe should not have said.
You are the oldest president ever.
Pretty good shape, huh?
Which leads to my next question. You are more aware of this than anyone. Some people ask whether you are fit for the job. And when you hear that, I wonder what you think.
Watch me.
Watch me. All right, so let's watch one more clip because this goes to maybe Biden not being the right person to continue in this position. Here, he clearly answers a question in a way that he was not supposed to because the White House had to clarify later.
U.S. policy since 1979 has been to recognize Taiwan as part of China, but remain silent on whether the U.S. military would defend the democratic government there. This is among the places where our interview runs into controversy.
What should Chinese President Xi know about your commitment to Taiwan?
We agree with what we signed on to a long time ago, and that there's a one China policy, that Taiwan makes their own judgments about their independence. We are not we're not encouraging their being independent. That's their decision.
But would U.S. forces defend the island?
Yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack.
After our interview, a White House official told us U.S. policy has not changed. Officially, the U.S. will not say whether American forces would defend Taiwan, but the commander-in-chief had a view of his own.
So unlike Ukraine, to be clear, sir, U.S. forces, U.S. men and women, would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion.
Yes.
All right. So he is saying here, President Biden is saying that they would go to war with troops on the ground, unlike in Ukraine, go to war to defend Taiwan, to defend their independence if China were to invade. Now, this is something that he probably should not have said out loud. The ambiguity around their position and what they would do is honestly a part of the U.S.'s strategy here, or it has been up to this point, in sort of discouraging this kind of thing. Because if you just say, yes, we would go to war with you, then what ends up happening is, both sides then begin to escalate. So, of course, there was some fear about that. I'll get to China's reaction in a second here. But look, this isn't, the reason that Biden shouldn't run again, but it goes to the idea that he often says things that maybe he shouldn't. And at some point, he's going to say something that is going to result in some real trouble. And I just don't think that's a risk that is, worth taking. Then again, you could argue Trump was there for 4 years, said all the dumbest shit imaginable, put everybody at risk constantly. And honestly, came very close to starting a serious war with Iran when they killed Soleimani. So, this is, I don't know. I understand both sides because there, of course, is someone who was much worse in before, but that shouldn't excuse, statements like this that could potentially put you in hot water if you aren't a little more careful. But now I want to get to China's reaction to this. So China reacted angrily on Monday with Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning telling a regular press briefing, the U.S. remarks severely violate the important commitment the U.S. made not to support Taiwan independence and send a seriously erroneous signal to Taiwanese separatist independence forces. We are willing to make the biggest sincere efforts to strive for the prospect of peaceful reunification, Mao said. At the same time, we will never tolerate any activities aimed at splitting the country and reserve the choice to take all necessary measures. So, hopefully, they kindly resolve this behind the scenes and nothing more comes out of it. But again, the worry is always that something will be said that is not able to be easily patched up. But last thing here, under the Taiwan Relations Act, which was signed by President Jimmy Carter in 1979, the U.S. agreed to provide Taiwan with arms to defend itself and to, quote, maintain the capacity of the U.S. to resist any resort to force or other forms of coercion that would jeopardize the security or the social or economic system of the people on Taiwan. The language neither guarantees nor rules out the possibility of military intervention, though the U.S. has long practiced strategic ambiguity when it comes to what it would do. And honestly, in terms of a public policy, I think that is the best position. But anyways, on Biden 2024, look, he's doing fine right now. I think he's getting much better. I hope he continues down this path of doing things that are actually popular and actually helps people. But even if he were to do that and continue doing that, it doesn't mean he's the best person to run in 2024, especially considering his age and not his age. It's you can be as old as Biden. And look at Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a lot more there and with it than Biden is. I think Biden's a little bit younger than Bernie. But it's more about, just There are so many better people. Like, honestly, that's